Welcome back to another video. Today we are in the RV. I wanted to come over here and put some stuff on while it is, as you can see with this horrible contrast, the last sunny day for a little while. We are 1 week away from moving in. We are in our final spot. I know I mentioned in the last RV video that I was hoping to film us pulling in and getting all hooked up, but needless to say, it was a little chaotic, so I did not film that day. So let me take you outside and show you our spot. Got the Bronco parked right there. So let's go out here. So here is our spot. We get basically everywhere from that gravel, all this big corner spot. We're next to a little stream that does have ducks. I've seen them. They usually hang out a little further down by the bridge there. But this is our spot. Got her all hooked up, power, everything. One of the main things I noticed, and we've used these items before for the little camper, and I should have had them for the big camper. That only makes sense. I'll show you in a minute. These are a must-have, whether you have a little camper, a big camper, at home even. It makes your life so much easier. Such a simple little thing, and I will show you what these are. What I have in here are quick disconnects for your hose. One side goes on the male end, one side goes on the female end, and it makes it super easy to connect and disconnect your hoses. And I'm going to show you why in this particular instance I want to put these on. It is for our main water hose, and I'm going to put it on our black tank flush hose, but why these are going to make such a big difference. Here's the inside of my wet bay. You can see I have my filter on this side just to keep it up in here. I have some heat trace that sticks out of our Camco heated hose. I will leave links to all these items in the description below. You have to change this every 3 months-ish, and this is a whole ordeal in here. So we're going to put quick disconnects on our 90 fittings here for our hoses and on the back side of the filter, so when it's time to change this filter, pop it right off, no big deal. Let's get these hoses disconnected. I already have the water off and I let the pressure out at the kitchen sink. There'll probably still be a little bit of water, but let's get these off and get these quick disconnects on. Let's see if I can do this one-handed. Probably not. Oh, maybe. The other thing is too, with the angle that this stuff is at, you know what? I'm going to open my low point drains here. Let a little more water pressure off there. There we go. Hopefully that helps. Not really. Again, I expect a little bit of water. But yeah, trying to get these threads lined up with these threads, and these are plastic, this is metal, it's going to be real easy to strip out those plastic threads. So I'd much rather be able to put something on down here where I have full access and then just click it in there than trying to get this perfectly lined up inside there. So we're going to feed this down through and let that kind of drain out a little bit. I did this, I had this Y fitting, and I did this just because it kind of helps this hose a little better, but I think I'm going to try putting it just with the quick disconnects on and see how that works, just because how the angles were and everything. But I think once I get the quick disconnects on, I won't need this here anymore. So let's get this off. I don't think there's any pressure in here, but a little bit, but not much. All right, we're going to close that. I don't need to keep draining. Okay, so on the Camco heated hose, it comes with a nice male by male adapter. Both ends of the hose are female, so that you can put the end with the actual plug on it on either end. So then you would just use this male by male here to adapt either side, whether it's on your spigot side or your camper side. All right, let me see if I can get this off. All right, we got that off. So now, because the quick disconnects are female by male, I will still need that adapter on this end so that I can still make this work. Let me see, I think we're gonna try it this way first. Put that end in like that, put this end back in the hose, and smart me did not bring any tools, so I'm using this little piece of insulation to kind of give me some grip on here, because believe it or not, these edges are kind of sharp. And then we will put the female end of the quick disconnect on here like this, nice and tight. And then we're gonna do the same thing on this end. Take another one. This one will be the female end. I mean, yeah, this is much easier to put on out here when I go to disconnect all this stuff. Screw that on, and then we're gonna take this piece and put it on that 90. And I did cut myself, see that? Be careful, I cut myself open trying to get that female adapter off. Now, I don't know if I'll be able to do this one-handed, but we're gonna try. and this should never move. So I'm gonna try not to bleed all over everything, just like that. Not too tight. You never wanna really go beyond finger tight. You will see people try and use wrenches to tighten up hoses because they're leaking. Well, you can actually over tighten a hose. I needed to come inside and clean the blood off. What I was trying to say is you can actually over tighten a hose. What creates the seal on a hose is that rubber gasket, not the threads. The threads do nothing to seal up that connection. And if you tighten it too much, what you're doing is you're squeezing that rubber gasket so tight that it actually pushes out of the way and allows water to get by. So if you go to tighten something on, hand tight, give it just a little bit, and if it's still leaking, replace the gasket. It's a bad gasket, it might be dried out or cracked and you can't see it. Just replace the gasket and then do it again and you should be fine. So don't over tighten your hose connections. There's no reason it should leak, and there's definitely no reason you should be putting a wrench on them. All right, let's go finish getting those put together. So now I'll show you how they go together. You can't just push them together. You got to pull on that, and then once it's in, you push it until it clicks. Now it's sealed up. And then the same thing will go for this end when I put it back up into the wet bay. But before we do that, I'm going to swap this one out also and see if we can get away with not putting that Y connector on there. Again, be careful on all these brand new threads. They are sharp. So we're going to do this like this again. And then we're going to take the male one, same thing. All right, let's see. I don't know how I'm going to do this. So first, our black tank flush, pull back, push till it clicks in. Love it. And now for our main water hose, sneak that back up in here. And click. I'm gonna wind this back around. I gotta get around to, I wanna just tape this on here just to kind of help keep that from freezing a little bit. But there you go, look at that. Quick connect there, quick connect there. I'm still undecided if I wanna do quick connects at the spigots. I'm really not gonna be messing with those connections too often, so I'm not sure if I wanna put quick connects on the other end. But what's nice about this little kit, comes with extra gaskets too. So remember, you have to change these out every once in a while. Even though they're in a hose and they're getting wet, they rot out, they fall apart eventually from the compression. So always have yourself some extra hose gaskets. Now that everything's connected, what's the most important thing to do whenever you mess with water? Turn it back on and check for leaks before you walk away. So we are going to open up the water here, slowly turn it back on and let it pressurize. That's another thing you should do. Take it from a pipe fitter of 18 years. Don't just slam your water back on. Turn it on a little bit and let the pressure build up slowly. You can see here on our regulator, it's slowly building up. That just helps protect everything from a sudden mass pressure. You got to remember that water is now pressurizing the air in front of it to whatever your water pressure is. There we go, it's all the way up. So we'll turn that all the way on. Actually, we're gonna turn, well, that's why I left that Y fitting on there, because otherwise it's flushing our black tank. So I'm not too worried about that one. We only use that one occasionally. That one's, even if it did leak a little bit, I'm not too worried about it. So let's go back over to the wet bay and check on our connections. Oh look, there's our duck friends. Some of them. Supposedly there's a lady that lives further down the creek there that feeds them all the time, and they usually hang out over there, but it looks like they're hanging out under that little alcove there. And of course, Melissa's all over the fact that she's gonna feed them and make friends with them. All right, so we're back over here. No leaks. We'll get the water flowing through there a little bit. You can hear all the air going through. Always bleed it out. Let me go bleed out the sinks inside and come back, and then we'll double check again for leaks. All the fixtures are bled out, so there's nothing but water here. That's very important. You want to bleed the air out. If you just turn that water on and walk away thinking, oh, there's no leaks, it could be slowly pushing the air out first, and then the water will get there and start leaking. But there we go, no leaks, perfect. There you have it, a quick, simple little fix. This is good for if you're in an RV, when you're camping, or at your house. Now they do make a different kind that I got, do not do this, but there are some that when you disconnect them, they stop the flow of water. So if you're doing some gardening and you're constantly switching out heads, or you're washing your car and you're going from a sprayer to something else, get the kind that shut the water off. Then you don't have to walk all the way back to your spigot and back and forth all the time, switching out the different things because you gotta go turn the water off. I'll try and find that option as well, and I'll link them both down in the description below. As always, thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you next time.